there, this is Critical from Critical Media, just taking a look at the 2022 Treasury Edition release of Demon Days by Peach Momoko and Zach Davison doing the translation for it. And what we usually do at this channel is give you an idea of what to expect if you ever come across this book in the wild. So we go over the exterior, some bonus material, art and plot points, and then a brief review at the end. Now, this series, it did start from 2021, where Marvel just gave Momoko a blank canvas just to do whatever she wished with Japanese culture and wetting it with, of course, Marvel lore. And this is our little product from that. So it was about 200 pages, and Marvel has attempted this a few times, trying to bridge that gap between Japanese manga and North American storytelling. Probably one of my favorites of that was the Elektra Wolverine. This was like in 2002, where Yoshitaka Amano and Greg Rucka essentially created X-23 before she ever debuted. At least the inspiration for the character. Her name was Avery Connor, so a nice little factoid there for you guys. Now, at least back to these Treasury editions, they are larger than your average comic, so they're very similar to Marvel Gallery editions. So just to give you an idea, just a standard hardcover or standard trade paperback size. Marvel, DC, oversized or deluxes tend to be about here, as well as omnibuses, so you can kind of see what I mean, where they're much bigger. And another interesting aspect about Treasury editions is that they have a lot of give to them. And they're not necessarily soft covers, they're not necessarily hardcovers either. They have this vinyl material design to it. So it gives it some weight and more protection than your average trade. So I definitely appreciate that. Excellent, of course, design here from Momoko. And of course, black, red, and white. Probably my favorite aesthetic ever. It's just part of several of my cultures here. But very on point there on the spine. And I guess because of a lot of that real estate, because of these formats, yeah, you get a huge splash image, more than enough space for the synopsis, and a few reviews and unique culture design. I don't know if this is kanji or whatever. I'm not that much into, I guess, Japanese culture, forgive me. But anywho, in terms of bonus material, we are getting quite a lot here. So what I appreciate about this is it does kind of give you a crash course, if you haven't already known, about some, of course, Japanese mythology or Shintoism. So a lot of their gods or deities and whatnot, Orochis, the Kidomarus, the gods like Fujin and Raiden and whatnot. So I do appreciate that it does a lot of that for folks. Just that quick little synopsis of everything. But man, oh man, did the artists definitely show up for these variants here. So you're going to see some pretty awesome work here from the J. Scott Campbells, the David Macks, and usually where there's David Mack, there's Bill Sienkiewicz somewhere. Goody Hiru does a few here. Lino Yu, Art Gem. But man, this Jen Bartel is probably one of my favorites among the group here. There's that David Mack. Another J. Scott Campbell, very on point. Trad Moore, who did Silver Surfer Black here. Another Treasury Edition book. And yep, there's that Bill Sienkiewicz, like I thought. An awesome Addy Granoff. And it pretty much just peters out with these bits of sketch work here. Like I said, pretty dense for bonus material this time. I don't think Silver Surfer got that much love. But anywho, in terms of art and plot points, I will be honest with you. The story isn't really the draw here, the art is, and especially the use of Momoko's colors. So you will find a lot of cliches with other manga, or just in general, a lot of comic book storylines. As a matter of fact, that whole Kidomaru legend, basically the Demon Child legend, does come up here a lot. And Momoko definitely leans a lot into the X-Men lore more than any other Marvel. It's more not just because the series were kind of split up in a way, but it's just that it seems that Momoko drew more from X-Men more than any other. But yeah, nice little way to get you into the story here. Love the little watercolor usage there. But the story does use a lot of different blending techniques too. And I do appreciate how Momoko manages to weave a lot of Marvel characters and put a nice interesting spin on them. So yeah, the Hulk, Danny Moonsar, her name's Suki in this. I love that, and I like how her hair kind of mimics her. Psylocke or Kanan, whatever you want to call her these days. She pretty much stays the same, just a Ronin, so to speak, or should I say, wandering samurai. And yeah, this format it really definitely benefits. It's kind of hard to nail the plot points because it does kind of go from like feudal era to the modern with the Mariko storyline. It's kind of, I guess, the less I say about it, the more surprised you'll be because the more I talk about it, it's just gonna fall into the cliches and predictability. But I once again, I appreciate how she weaves Marvel lore. There's Jubilee, there's Venom or Orochi, perfectly fitted. But yeah, very well done. I can't deny it. And the kinetics are surprisingly on point too. But yeah, I do appreciate how Momoko uses a lot of that watercolors technique because it definitely benefits. And I love that little white aspect around figures and every image. Very on point in that light. And yeah, just to give you an idea of these kinetics here, her little fight, or their fight, I should say, with Venom, very on point. Just, yeah, just interesting techniques all around being used. Reminds me a lot, this page particularly reminds me a lot of certain parts of Silver Surfer Black. But all in all, this is very a strong book so far. Yes, the whole Mariko story, sorry, very interesting. This one definitely leans into the Kidomaru, and this is probably the one that takes up the most of the overall book, this particular plot line. And I do appreciate that Mariko gets to shine in this, considering, at least in main Marvel canon, she doesn't get enough, let's just put it that way. But yeah, the very unique takes on, yeah, Black Widow, Kuroki, in this case, the black tree or the black teacher, so to speak, kind of makes sense in this case. But yeah, nice little coming of age story here for her. The Elektra story was very on point. I can't deny it. Man, the kinetics in some of these fights are on point. Where is it? I think it's. Oh, sorry, my apologies. Let me just go right here for you. Probably one of my favorite pages of this, or spreads of this book here. Very on point. Follow the action perfectly, and such an excellent use of color to amplify the image here. So on point. But yeah, definitely appreciative there. Yes, if you're wondering, Wolverine definitely makes an appearance. Nightcrawler, Thor even, definitely appreciate that. Man, oh man, so on point. How she managed to infuse a lot of that culture into this book. But yeah, there's not too much where one story truly leads to the other outside of this Mariko story, told more so in the present. But honestly, it's kind of timeless in the way she chose to at least set the story, because it all happens on this mountain. Forgive me, I think it's called Kirisaki or something like that. But yeah, you're going to just find a lot of unique takes on things. Definitely like this Elektra part, because it definitely reminded me of Amano's work from earlier. Yeah, but all in all, a very strong package. One thing I noticed about Treasury editions, they all tend to be the same price, no matter what the page length is. So don't be discouraged if you ever come across that. And being Treasury editions, yes, you will find these in libraries as well. But anywho, it's not so much about me at this point. Hopefully you guys get a chance to take a look at this book. Definitely visually pleasing. Admittedly, not the most dense story out there. I mean, Silver Surfer Black is definitely the better of the two, but that's kind of an unfair equivalency there. But hey, at the end of the day, your opinion is what matters most, and hopefully you guys get a chance to come across this. And I'll see you guys in the next video just as always. Take care.